Hey everyone, welcome back to your favorite podcast, Localize This. I'm your host, Debbie.
And I'm John. Today we're diving into something that's super relevant for anyone interested in the translation world.
That's right. In this episode, we're talking about the essential questions every translator needs to ask their clients and the must-have skills for making it in this industry.
You know, we get so many questions from aspiring translators about how to get started and what it really takes to succeed in this field.
So today, we're breaking it all down for you. The good, the challenging, and everything in between. Let's start with something that's absolutely crucial in our field. Asking the right questions before you even begin translating.
Oh yes. I learned this the hard way early in my career. I once jumped straight into translating a marketing piece without asking any questions. And, well, let's just say it didn't go as planned.
We've all been there. The first and probably most important question you need to ask is about the intended audience. Where and how will the translation be used?
Exactly. Translating a text for teenagers is completely different from translating for business executives, right?
And don't forget about the tone of voice. I always ask my clients whether they want it to be formal, casual, or somewhere in between.
That's such a crucial point, especially when you're dealing with languages that have formal and informal forms of address, like in Portuguese, Spanish, or Japanese.
Speaking of which, here's another biggie. Should brand names be translated? You'd be surprised how many clients haven't even thought about this.
Oh, and measurements and currencies? I once had a client who was shocked when I asked about converting miles to kilometers for their European audience. It's these little details that can make or break a translation. You know what I always say? It's better to ask too many questions than too few. Absolutely. And here's something I've learned. Always leave room for that one final question. Is there anything else you'd like me to know?
That's brilliant. Sometimes clients have specific requirements they didn't think to mention until you ask that question. Now that we've covered the questions to ask clients, let's talk about what it really takes to be a successful translator.
People often think being bilingual is enough, but there's so much more to it than that.
Absolutely. First and foremost, you need to have excellent command of both languages. And I mean really excellent. You need to understand idioms, cultural references, slang.
And not just contemporary language, but also how it evolves. I subscribe to newspapers and magazines in both languages just to stay current.
That's such a good point. And let's talk about research skills. They're absolutely crucial. I probably spend as much time researching as I do translating.
Oh my goodness, yes. Just last week I had to research everything from medieval architecture to modern cryptocurrency terms for a single project.
And you need to know how to find reliable sources. Not everything you find on Google is accurate.
Speaking of accuracy, let's not forget about attention to detail. One small mistake can completely change the meaning of a text.
And cultural awareness, that's a big one. You're not just translating words, you're bridging cultures.
Exactly. I once had to completely rework a marketing campaign because the original metaphors just didn't resonate with the target culture.
That reminds me, adaptability is key. Sometimes you need to be creative to convey the same message in a culturally appropriate way.
And let's not forget about the technical skills. These days, you really need to be comfortable with translation software and other digital tools.
It's quite a toolkit we need, isn't it? But that's what makes our job so interesting. We're part linguist, part researcher, part cultural ambassador, and part tech wizard. Speaking of skills, let's talk about some of the biggest challenges translators face. What's your number one translation headache, John?
Oh, technical terminology, hands down, especially when you're dealing with a specialized field you're not familiar with.
I had a medical translation last month that sent me down a 3-hour rabbit hole just researching one specific procedure.
Been there. And it's not just understanding the terms. You need to make sure you're using the correct industry-specific terminology in both languages.
And then there's the cultural nuances. Sometimes what works perfectly in one culture just falls completely flat in another.
Or worse, causes offense. I once had to explain to a client why their perfectly innocent slogan in English would be considered inappropriate in Spanish.
The deadlines can be pretty challenging too. It seems like everything is urgent these days.
Tell me about it, and you can't just rush through it because accuracy is crucial. One wrong word in a legal document
could cause serious problems. I've learned to be very upfront with clients about realistic timelines.
That's smart. You know what else is tricky? When you're dealing with idioms or wordplay in the source language.
Oh yes, sometimes you have to get really creative to capture the same feeling in the target language.
And let's not forget about handling multiple projects simultaneously, each with its own style guide, terminology preferences,
and different client expectations. Sometimes the biggest challenge is just keeping everything straight.
You know what helps me? Having a really solid project management system. I learned that one the hard way.
You know, John, we've talked about the challenges, but let's shift gears and discuss how translators can actually grow in their careers. What's your take on professional development?
Well, I think continuous learning is absolutely crucial. The language landscape is constantly evolving, and we need to evolve with it.
Absolutely. I make it a point to read extensively in both my source and target languages. It helps me stay current with language trends and new expressions.
That's a great practice. I've also found that joining professional associations has been incredibly valuable. The networking opportunities alone are worth it.
Oh yes, I remember you telling me about that conference you attended last year. Didn't you pick up some great tips about new translation tools?
I sure did. Actually, that's another key point: staying up to date with technology. The tools available to translators today are incredible, but you need to invest time in learning them.
Speaking of investing time, I've started taking specialized courses in my focus areas. Last month, I completed a course in legal terminology.
That's smart. Specialization can really set you apart in this field. I've noticed clients are increasingly looking for translators with expertise in specific industries.
And don't forget about building your online presence. I've gotten some great projects through my LinkedIn profile.
Social media can be really powerful for translators. It's not just about finding work. It's also about connecting with other professionals and staying informed about industry trends.
You know what else has helped me grow? Mentoring newer translators. It's amazing how much you learn when you're teaching others.
That's so true. Plus, it helps build your reputation in the industry. Word of mouth is still one of the best ways to get new clients.
Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today in our discussion about translation careers and essential skills.
We sure have. Let's quickly recap the main points for our listeners.
First and foremost, we talked about those crucial questions every translator needs to ask their clients. You know, understanding the target audience, tone of voice, and cultural considerations.
Exactly. And we can't stress enough how important it is to have those conversations up front. It saves so much time and potential headaches down the road.
Then we dove into those essential skills every translator needs, beyond just knowing the languages themselves.
Right? Strong research abilities, cultural awareness, and tonruk, and attention to detail are absolutely crucial.
And let's not forget about handling those common challenges: technical terminology, cultural nuances, and those ever-present tight deadlines.
I think one of the most valuable takeaways is that becoming a successful translator is really a journey of continuous learning and growth.
Absolutely. Whether it's staying updated with new tools, joining professional associations, or developing specialized expertise, there's always room to grow.
And that wraps up this episode of Localize This. Remember, translation isn't just about converting words, it's about bridging cultures and connecting people.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep localizing.